Welcome back. This is National Geographic Weekend. I'm Boyd Matson. And folks, I am here to tell you, people are strange. Now, this probably comes as no great revelation to most of you, but after a life of traveling the world, I can confirm your suspicions. People are strange. Which, by the way, is good news, for all our eccentricities is what makes us more interesting, more entertaining, and more importantly for me, provides an endless source of material for our Wilde Chronicle segment here on this radio show. And to help us tell our story this week, backed by popular demand, Marcus Manderson on the piano. Our tale begins in a cemetery. However, this is not a story about death. It is more a story of life after death. For most people, when the dirt hits the casket, that is the end. But for some, the grave is not an end. It's a beginning, the beginning of a second career as a tourist attraction. I was reminded of this on a recent visit to Paris's famed Pere Lachaise cemetery, where numerous famous people are buried. People like Chopin, Oscar Wilde, Sarah Bernhardt, Balzac, Edith Piaf. Now, it's a big place, 119 acres, but you can buy a map that pinpoints the grave sites of celebrities, kind of a map to the stars' final home. And this is where people are strange, myself included, because I did this. My wife was a reluctant participant. We bought one of those maps and then proceeded to play what we called cemetery bingo, trying to find as many celebrity graves as we could in 1 hour. And that got me to thinking, what are the top 10 visited celebrity graves in the world? And why do people strangely go visit them? So who's in the top 10? Well, they don't sell tickets to most grave sites, so it's difficult to get an accurate list. But Elvis Presley's final resting place is an exception, because fans can line up and buy tickets to go in the front door of Graceland, which leads to the back door, which leads to the backyard, which leads to the graves of Elvis, his father, his mother, his grandmother, in the yard in a section called the Memorial Garden. The king of rock and roll is one of the kings of the celebrity gravesite list, because more than 600,000 fans a year pay to go and see that final resting place. Thousands more show up on the night that is the anniversary of his death every year for a candlelight vigil. All right, who else is in the top 10? Well, Princess Di, Shakespeare, Frank Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe, Bob Marley, Bruce Lee, Johnny Cash, Jimi Hendrix. But what about that French cemetery, Pere Lachaise? Of all those famous names I mentioned, of all the French people buried there, who has the most visited grave? Well, it is the gravesite that drew me there, myself. It's American rock and roll star, Jim Morrison. Now, so many fans have gone and tried to live a tribute, which usually consisted of them drinking a bottle of whiskey while sitting on his tombstone, that they have now put barriers up to keep you some distance from the grave. But you can take pictures, and I took a moment to ask Jim a question. I said, Jim, have you finally broken on through to the other side? And he said, well, I think it was Jim. It could have been the Jack Daniels talking. He said, not yet. Still digging. People are strange when it comes to celebrity graves. And that wraps up our show for this time. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Marcus Manderson. Thanks to Justin O'Neill, my producer. Be sure and tune in next time for another radio adventure.